This is a picture of David Noakes. Now, he claims to be behind a wonder drug that can cure autism, Parkinson's disease, HIV and cancer, yet his work is unproven, unregulated and unlicensed. Dr. Saleyha Ahsan has been to Guernsey to confront him.
When you think of Guernsey and the Channel Islands, you think of sun, sea and lower taxes, but possibly not major medical breakthroughs. Yet it's also home to a so-called miracle cure that's being sold as an answer to everything from autism to Parkinson's, HIV and even cancer. It's called First Immune and is based on a protein found in human blood called GC-MAF. It's made by Immunobiotech Limited. And just one of these small vials could set nearly £450. The man behind the company is David Noakes, and he makes bold claims about what its product can do.
It can usually cure terminal stage 4 cancer to the point where the patient is cancer-free in a year.
It took him 16 months to be completely cured of chronic cirrhosis of the liver.
Well, this is the beginning of the end of the autism disease forever.
David Noakes claims that regular injections of First Immune GC-MAF could cure the symptoms of autism. What's more, he says that there are 500 symptom-free children to prove it. We showed Mr Noakes' claims to Catherine Hall from the National Autistic Society.
David Noakes' claims are outrageous. There is no evidence to show that GC-MAF could have any effect on the core symptoms of autism.
There have been no independently peer-reviewed studies on First Immune, and earlier papers claiming the benefits of GC-MAF have even had to be retracted. All the leading UK research charities we spoke to branded David Noakes' claims unproven and potentially dangerous. But it's not just his claims that cause concern. David Noakes has no medical training, yet he's been advising patients to use GC-MAF instead of conventional treatments. And that includes cancer patients on chemotherapy. There are thousands of GC-MAF users out there following David Noakes' medical advice, and I want to meet them. How many people today here in this room have used First Immune GC-MAF? These are just some of the 200 residents of Guernsey who've been taking GC-MAF, supplied free of charge by Immunobiotech.
I have one kidney left, which is being attacked by tumours. I'm not saying that my cancer is cured, but I certainly think it's been delayed.
I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Every time I took the GC-MAF, it was like that day I knew I felt better.
It's more to do with using a product that is unchecked and untested. That's the question.
If you're diagnosed as being terminally ill, and there's no other treatment available, then do you really care where GC-MAF is being produced? It's my only hope.
These people belong to a supporters group for GC-MAF, and they wanted to speak out publicly in support of it. But I'm deeply concerned that they're injecting themselves with an unproven and unregulated medicine. As a doctor, I found meeting all those people and hearing what they had to say very moving. But it doesn't justify David Noakes' extreme claims of this being some kind of miracle cure. A miracle cure that's now been found to be potentially contaminated. 10,000 vials of First Immune have been seized by the UK's medicines regulator, the MHRA. It shut the company's labs down earlier this year after finding unsterile conditions and substances unfit for use in humans, although they've received no reports of any side effects. Coming up later, I put David Noakes on the spot. Not to be exploited in the way that your company seems to be.
And you can see that interview later in the show. We won't spoil it for you now, but let's just say that things get very heated, and that's not the last we see of him. Now, earlier on, we met a group of patients in Guernsey taking a so-called miracle cure, which claims to banish everything from autism, Parkinson's disease, HIV and cancer. Now, very often the people behind these unlicensed drugs are camera shy, but not so the head of Immunobiotech Limited. He was only too happy to speak to us. Well, sort of.
I've been investigating a so-called wonder drug that's claimed to cure everything from autism to cancer. In fact, it's actually unproven, unlicensed and potentially contaminated. And the man behind First Immune GC-MAF, David Noakes, has agreed to meet me. Do you stand by the 80% of cancer sufferers are cancer-free after a year if they've not had any chemo, but they've taken your GC-MAF?
Yes, absolutely.
How about autism? 85% of autistic people improving?
Improving, yes. In the clinics, 60% are going back to normal school. But
and how old are these people? What's the age range?
Typically up to 12.
So children?
Yes.
Children are
That's
having
correct.
this product?
Yes, yes.
How can anyone have faith in a company that's been raided by a medical regulator and found to be using potentially contaminated products?
That's just another lie. 9,000 patients have taken it without side effects, without contamination, and with perfect sterility.
You've got no medical training, and yet you're offering advice, clinical advice to patients who are very sick. You're advising them...
Hang on, we have 4 scientists and 7 doctors.
You personally are advising people how to inject, what dose to take. You're suggesting that they don't take their chemotherapy.
We have a huge amount of experience in dosage.
Do you give clinical advice to cancer patients?
No.
Have you ever told...
It's not the point. I'm the CEO.
No, it is a point.
No.
There is a point here. You qualify and get a GMC licence registration for a reason to allow you to give clinical advice to a patient. Have you been advising patients on dosage
well, over 5
and how
years,
to inject?
have I? Probably yes.
It is the right of patients
I don't think I'll get into trouble.
not to be exploited in the way that your company seems to be.
No, I'll carry on. Exploitation is what is done by the cancer industry. No, let me finish. Let me finish.
Please do.
Right. In the cancer industry, when you see a cancer doctor, they tell you 2 lies. First, you'll be dead in next months if you don't take chemotherapy. And second, chemotherapy is the only option. Those are the 2 lies they always tell you. GC-MAF is the only product that will get rid of pancreatic cancer.
Pancreatic cancer is a really nasty disease. It's deadly.
Not anymore.
And
not anymore.
That's quite a claim.
Yeah. Sorry, we've done it too many times not to claim it.
Would you say that you're exploiting some of the most vulnerable members of society, people with life-threatening cancers?
We do the opposite.
You're not exploiting
Absolutely.
some of society's most vulnerable.
Their lives. I think that was a horrible interview, and frankly, I'd like to scrub the whole thing. I don't think you gave me a chance.
I'm putting forward to you
well,
what has been asked.
I don't want it to go out. I would like the tape, please. No, I'll smash up the camera.
Excuse me.
No,
take your hands off the equipment, please.
No.
Take your hands
David
off
Noakes
the
is clearly passionate about his product, but his company's bank accounts have been frozen. And the regulator, the MHRA, says Immunobiotech Limited is now the subject of an ongoing criminal investigation.
Well, Dr. Saleyha Ahsan and from the Institute of Cancer Research, Professor Kevin Harrington join us now. Saleyha, obviously a very tense situation there with David Noakes. But what advice have you had then from the medicine regulator about this drug?
Well, the bottom line is, don't buy medicines off the internet. You don't know where they've come from, you don't know who's made them, you don't know what conditions they've been made in, you won't know about dosage. And, you know, if you are going to go that way, really do engage with your conventional, traditional doctor, the healthcare providers that you're with. Really don't stray off it. Use common sense.